You are listening to ADHD Support Talk Radio. ADHD Support Talk Radio is sponsored by ADDclasses.com. Sign up now for a free webinar by going to www.addclasses.com. And yes, this is your co-host, Tara McGillicuddy. And this week I am rebroadcasting an interview I did with Sari Solden back in 2012 about effective communication strategies for adults with ADHD. So please take a listen. Hello and welcome back to the online ADHD Awareness Expo. We have a special guest with us tonight. I'd like to welcome Sari Solden to the online ADHD Awareness Expo.
Hi, Tara.
Hi, Sari. I'm so glad you've joined us again this year. Thank you so much.
A pleasure.
Great. And we're going to be talking today a little bit about communication, but before we get started, can you let our viewers know a bit about yourself, who you are in relationship to helping people with ADHD?
Okay, well, I'm Sari Solden. I've been helping people with ADD for 25 years now, and I'm a therapist, psychotherapist in Ann Arbor, and I speak all over the country and even the world now on counseling issues, really, for the effects of living with ADD on men and women, and with a strength-based model. I've written 2 books on the subject, Women with ADD and Journeys Through Adulthood, for men and women and health professionals. So that's about it.
And how can people get in touch with you after today's expo, after tonight's video?
Well, they can write to me always at sarisolden.com, or they can visit my online ADD community where I do a lot of presentations in video and audio blogs with my messages and information. That's at ADDjourneys.com. And I just want to say that I'm really excited now because my book that's been published in many different forms and versions over the years, Women with ADD, has been hard to find for the last year, and now it's out and strong and back, and it's in ebook formats as well as in print. So just come to my website or email me, and you can get a hold of those now.
Oh, that's great to hear. And you're a pioneer when it comes to helping people with ADHD, especially women with ADHD. Your book was originally written in 1993, or is it 1995?
I was writing it in 93, but it was actually published in 95.
Wow. So thank you so much. I'm so glad you've joined us. You've helped so many people, and it's great to hear that your book's available again, and your website, your community is amazing. I know people rave about it, and they really find a lot of connections there.
Thanks, Jared. And that's the most important thing, I guess, therapeutically, is to make those connections.
Yeah. And, related to connections is communication, which is what you want to talk to us about today. So where would you like to start with that?
Well, I just want you to, every day as a person with ADD and helping people with ADD, this comes up constantly. How can I have healthy communication, which I define as respecting yourself, not losing yourself, not putting yourself down, not letting other people define you, but still validating the other person and really learning how to get your needs met and be in relationship with other people at the same time. And I have a lot of ideas about it, but then I went back to prepare, and I realized I actually had written a 5-step model to assertive and healthy communication in my book, Journeys Through Adulthood. So I wanted to sort of tell you about some situations that have come up recently and tell you how that might fit in to the model.
Oh, definitely. And I know I can certainly relate to communication issues as a person with ADHD myself and somebody who works with people with ADHD. That's one of the most challenging issues for a lot of us is communication. So I'm ready to hear your 5-step model.
Okay, and this is a model about when you're in a difficult ADD situation, when your wounds are being triggered, when you're being misunderstood, when people are attributing things to you, or when you need something and you don't know how to get it because you're feeling embarrassed or ashamed, or people are viewing you in a certain negative way. So just like the other day, I realized a friend emailed me who had moved out of town, and she said, I wrote you like 8 months ago that my father died, and why didn't you ever email me back? And so, I was right there again. I had to go through this model. I realized in my head I had to struggle with it and, come to terms with that. I know I'm a good person. I had to finally get that back. I know that that's not true, that I would never not, respond to her if I knew that. Obviously, I missed an email, and I had to see in my own mind what was her part in that. She just assumed that I just blew her off instead of validating that I wouldn't be that kind of person. And I had to really deal with some of the feelings of shame or even anger about being viewed in this negative way, but I also felt I wanted to validate her. So this is sort of, I'll go through the model and then I'll tell you how maybe I could apply that situation. I made an easy acronym. It's called the SAFETY model, SAFETY, and there's 5 steps. So the first two of the steps are sort of internal. It's the SA, or sort of separate your core sense of self from your ADD challenges, SA, because you have to sort of, like I did, examine, well, what messages are coming up, what negative things am I telling myself, what defaults do I have, like it's always my fault, or what's wrong with me. I had to separate that from my core sense of self. I had to remember who I really am, and that's not the kind of person I am, but that I missed an email. I had to get my head on straight, sort of. So separate your core sense of self from your ADD. That's SAF, is figure out what you want or need in a situation, so either emotionally or situationally, what do you need? If you don't know what you need or what you want, you won't be able to get it. No one else will be able to figure that out for you. Like if it's a situation that you need to set up a different structure for, you have to know what makes your brain work well. In this case, I had to know emotionally, what do I need in this situation to work through these feelings before I'm able to be clear. Then you can start to communicate after you do that internal work. So SAF, the next one is E. This is hard for people because when you're feeling sort of wounded, express your validation and understanding and appreciation of the other person, either of their feelings or their point of view. That's hard to do when you're feeling vulnerable yourself. So this whole thing takes a long time to get there, but express that you understand, you're sorry for any pain the other person felt, but that's a hard place to get to because you usually just want to withdraw and not go there, so you get SA, F, E, and then the next one is T, which is telling the other person what you need or what your difficulty is, not putting yourself down, not characterizing yourself, I'm a loser, what's wrong with me, oh, I'm sorry, I'm just never doing anything right. Because, I had to just, matter of fact, say, I get so many emails, sometimes I'm not able to see when one is personal or sometimes it doesn't stand out for me. Describe what happens to you. This happens in all sort of situations, describing what you need. And the last one is telling the other person. You tell the other person. Tell the other person what you need. Why is you give suggestions so that you take control. That you're not, you just don't stand there withdrawn or embarrassed. You say, like I would say to this woman, what I do is when I don't hear from a close friend when there's something important I've said to them, I assume that they did get it or they didn't read it. So it would be helpful for me if you would, if you tell me something important, knowing I care about you and I don't respond to you, it would be really helpful if you would either write me with a big headline or call me or just understand that I do care about you and that I would never not care about your loss. I'm very sorry for your loss and I wish I had known about it. Sort of protecting yourself but connecting with the other person. So going through those steps, you can apply them to a lot of situations. Separating yourself out from your core sense of self, figuring out what you need, describing what you need instead of characterizing yourself or putting yourself down. And then you take control of the situation and say what you suggest. And if you go through those situations, it's in my book, you can sort of feel more, your whole sense of self. You can feel like you're respecting yourself and still respecting the other person. And that's sort of the goal of communication, is to not put yourself down, but not withdraw from the other person. I had a situation the other day, just briefly, where I was misattributing another person with ADD. And I'll change sort of the situation around a little bit, but this woman had invited me to sort of a networking situation I had helped set up, and the whole understanding was she was going to introduce me. She was going to talk about the events that I was giving, and I had been really nice to her, and we had a nice relationship. When I got to the event, she completely, to my point of view at the time, ignored me. Yep. She wasn't introducing me. She wasn't talking about what we had described, and I started left thinking, oh well, I don't know what that was about, And 2 days later, she wrote to me, and she sort of went through this in a way. She's got ADD, and she said, you know what, I want you to know, I want you to understand, I was having a panic attack at the time. I had no idea, because she was just sitting there. I was having a panic attack. I was completely overwhelmed. I know I didn't do what we said, so this is what I'm going to do now. I'm going to send this advertisement about what we talked about before, but I had no idea what was going on with her. So I really appreciated that she took a couple days, and she must have gone through this head trip herself and gotten herself together. Instead of withdrawing and never avoiding me forever, she was able to say, this is what was going on. And that made such a huge difference to me. And I realized, how many times I actually just do these misattributions myself. You have no idea what's going on with another person. And so as you're the person or the other person, it's so easy to misinterpret.
Yeah, no, and it's great that you just give these are fairly simple. I don't know if they're simple steps, because for some people they're hard to do, but it's a great model to use. And it sounds like for a lot of people it takes practice too. It's not going to come natural. That we have
simple. I think someone said simple but not easy. You know, because they take a lot. I mean, they could take a long time to get to a place of acceptance where you're able to maintain your sense of self and differences or difficulties. And, that was just one situation. It happens all the time at work or personal life where you can't do what other people are asking you to do. You have difficulties that nobody would dream of. Yes. It happens to me every year at Thanksgiving. I'm hiding in the kitchen, hiding in the bedroom or, in the bathroom where my sister-in-law is, hard at work doing everything because I can't do what she's, what I'm expected to do. And I've had to learn over the years to say, you know what, this is weird, but I'm not good at that. But tell me what to do and I'll do it. But I don't know what to do if I just walk in there, and give me a job.
Yeah, and people think you don't care if you don't let them know, and they get offended. It can be a vicious cycle. So the safety model, the 5 steps, just sounds like it could be really beneficial. And as you're saying it, I'm thinking, wow, this is something I could paste on my wall, right above my computer, because I get into that habit and I get offended, or sometimes I will avoid people because I don't know how to phrase it, or I'll move on to something else. So I think it's not only great that you shared the model, but you also shared a couple of your own personal stories.
Yeah, and I think that's what people need to understand, that no matter, how well you're looked at as dealing with your own ADD and how well you are dealing with it, these are always going to be wounds or tender spots that can get you right back to that place. Okay, now, how do I need to look at this and remember who I really am?
Yes, definitely. And I think a lot of people here who are newer to ADHD, see your name as an expert. They see the other experts' names. And I think it's great to realize that we as experts are still going through these challenges too, and we're finding ways to cope with it and deal with and even thrive. So it gives people a lot of hope that they can get through it too.
It does. That's why I always start out a speech or anything talking about a personal situation, because it is important to realize that you have to see the whole picture, that you're always going to have difficulties and challenges, but that you have to move toward your strengths and be able to hold that bigger self-image.
Okay, great. Well, we are actually getting towards the end of tonight's video. Are there any final thoughts that you'd like to leave people with? And can you once again let them know your contact information?
Yes, so I know I went through this quickly, so a lot of this information is in those 2 books that you can read about on www.addjourneys.com. Email me at Sari@SariSolden.com, and just remember to communicate with that whole image of yourself in mind. Don't just collapse into this feeling of what's wrong with me and I've got to hide who I am.
Yes.
Let yourself embrace all of who you are.
Well, great. Thank you so much, Sari Solden, and thank you everyone for taking the time to watch this ADHD Awareness Expo video. Have a great night.